Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk About Sex here on XFM 100.2 with me, Mel and I, and my lovely brunette in the studio, Emma Hogg. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very good. How are you, Mel?
I'm very well, thank you. I don't know why it feels like I haven't seen you in ages.
A month, a whole month.
A whole month.
I know, but it's true. It does feel long.
It does feel very long.
I missed you.
I missed you too. You're looking very nice and suntanned.
Thank you.
Aha.
So are you.
All those days on the boat, huh? I see your pictures, honey. So tell me, what are we going to talk about today?
So I really wanted to talk about fighting today.
Oh.
Sounds not heavy.
I mean, all the couples out there, I don't think there is one couple who would say, we don't fight. Well, if there is a couple that say we don't fight, what does that mean?
It's messed up.
Do you think so?
Yes, absolutely. It's messed up.
So it's perfectly normal for couples to fight?
Yes, 100%. 100%. And that's why I wanted to speak about fighting. In fact, I called this topic, don't fight less, fight better.
I love that.
Because we think that there's something wrong with fighting. And if we fight, then we're like not a good couple.
And I think even a lot of people think, because we fight all the time and we're not good together. It's all we do. We fight. When in reality, what we are trying to say, to a certain extent, I mean, if they're fighting all the time and can't agree on anything, there are obviously deeper issues at stake.
Yep. Which is why fight better.
Why fight better?
To understand the deeper issues at stake.
Yes. And what we are saying also here, again, is not to get caught into the amount of fights that you have, but to try and look at these fights and say, okay, why? What is happening? Mm-hmm. How can it improve?
Exactly.
So, okay, off we go. And in the first part, we are obviously going to talk about fighting as not being just communication that doesn't get done right.
Yes, exactly. You're on it.
Hey,
there's more to it.
There's more to it.
In fact, a lot of people think that if they go to therapy, they're going to learn like communication skills. And for a long time, it was like that. And some therapists still do work like that. But the thing is, like, teaching people communication skills, it's like they're good to have. So I'm not saying they're not good. But there is a whole layer underneath it that if you don't address, it's like you're putting a Band-Aid on the wound. And you're not able to process that. So basically, I really want to speak about what fights are really about. And fundamentally, fights are always a protest for emotional connection.
Okay. A process for emotional connection. So we're not talking about, we're talking about specific fights. No. Or in general.
In general.
Even the most pathetic, trivial fight over who takes out the garbage or washes the dishes.
Yep.
Okay.
Fights are protests for emotional connection. So when you think, we've spoken about this before, like when you think about our survival needs, we all need to be loved and to know that we belong.
Yes.
Yes, because when we belong, we have a higher chance of surviving.
Yes.
Right? Way back, we were way more at risk of death if we were alone.
But not in a pack.
Exactly.
Okay.
Nowadays, we're still at higher risk of death if we're alone because we're more likely to become dysregulated emotionally, depressed and anxious because it triggers our fight or flight. And this makes us unwell. So biologically, we are wired to need love and belonging. And the people who don't have love and belonging go a bit berserk. And this is why, I'm going a little bit off track here, but this is why kind of the use of technology, we need to be so aware and so mindful, because when you replace human connection with technology, so you don't meet your friends because you're WhatsApping them, or you don't connect with your partner, like this is a problem because biologically you remain dysregulated, because technology can never regulate your body. And by regulate, I mean bring you to homeostasis, right? Bring you back to balance.
On a biological point of view, you're actually talking physical.
Yes, 100% biology. Our biology and our psychology are linked. There's no separation. If your biology is out of whack, your psychology is.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
So if your psychology is out of whack, something's happening biologically.
So you're talking that when there is human connection,
yeah,
somehow the energy of that connection brings calmness and balance to our physical body.
Bingo.
Okay.
Bingo.
But obviously when on the phone,
yeah,
there isn't that.
Yeah, if you're looking at your phone all the
Yeah.
time, if you're and actually screens actually dysregulate us for different reasons because of the blue light and all this stuff. But especially because there isn't human connection. So
Yep.
You remember we spoke about the prefrontal cortex?
Yes.
It's a part of the brain it's like so you guys at home, like, and you're listening, or in the car. Hello.
In the car.
So
At work.
You're at work.
Via laptop.
Wherever you are.
In the world.
There's the prefrontal cortex is on your forehead, in between your eyes, a bit
like
higher.
It's like the third eye.
The third eye.
The third eye.
So this part of the brain doesn't start developing until you're a year and a half old. And by the time you're 3, it's like more or less developed, but it continues to develop throughout life.
Okay.
But it develops in relationship. So it develops when we tune in with each other.
Ah.
And this is the part of the brain that makes it possible to connect with other human beings, to experience compassion.
So people who find it hard to connect with other people, is it because they don't connect often? So it's like they're not exercising it?
Bingo. Yeah, that has a lot to do with it. Because what happens is when we don't allow this part of the brain to receive oxygen and to like strengthen, right, to sort of be predominant, we function from fight or flight.
We spoke about this last time, yes.
And this triggers fear. This is our fear response.
This is fear. But when you go to that gland, and let's say you're being fearful, and you go to that part
of the brain,
and you say, okay, what am I fearful of? And instead of getting taken over by the fear, which I call false emotions appearing real, real effect, that's what I call them. But you go to this front cortex, what are we going to call it? Is it the pineal gland?
No, it's the prefrontal cortex.
The prefrontal cortex. And it's like your CEO.
Exactly.
Where you kind of say, okay, what am I scared of? What is happening? And you kind of evaluate and are aware of a situation when most people would be in fight or flight. But you manage to gain that access.
Yes. Now, to get there, to get to that point, you go through the body. So you bring safety to the body. Now, babies don't know how to do this for themselves. Children don't know how to bring safety to themselves. This is why the mother regulates, right?
Okay.
And the mother regulates the child by tuning in. Not talking at them or telling them what to do, but by tuning in, what does the child need, right? So I feel you. I allow myself to feel you.
Yep.
Now,
I
know it seems like we've gone off topic, but we haven't. Relationships need this. We need to feel each other. And what happens is when we feel, 2 shows ago, we spoke about threats to the relationship.
Yes.
And whenever there's a threat, we step into fight or flight.
Yes.
Yeah? So something can happen. All right, let's speak about something mundane. For example, you and your partner agreed that they are going to do a particular chore, like take out the trash or whatever.
Okay.
And you wake up,
and the trash
isn't taken out.
Okay.
And it could be, if you and your partner are in a good space, you're feeling relatively safe, you know that you belong together, whatever, you're able to like brush it off. But if you and your partner have been going through a stressful period.
Yep.
That
would
triggers your fear, right? And you go, what a beep, right? He doesn't give a beep about me.
And it becomes about you rather than...
It's just the behavior.
Yes.
Now, see the process, right? So it doesn't seem like such a fearful process, but the conclusion is he doesn't give a, right? About me.
Me.
And if he doesn't give about me, then that means that I don't belong with him.
It's a whole kind of train of thought, isn't it?
So that triggers the fight or flight. Yeah. So it's not the act of the trash, it's the process behind it, right? And the things like taking out the trash or washing dishes or whatever, it's sort of irrelevant. Like you could be fighting about he speaks to another woman at a party, right? And that triggers your fight or flight. When you are in a safe space with your partner,
it wouldn't trigger it.
These things don't trigger it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But when you are not feeling in a safe space, these things can be misunderstood and it becomes very scary. Now, is there time for me?
Yes, I was going to tell you, we're going to stop for a short while, and then we come back. We're going to continue talking about the I love what you call it, the blame game.
The blame game.
The blame game.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's your fault. No, it's your fault. I'm sure we've all done this before.
Absolutely.
So we're going to come back and we're going to continue talking about the blame game, and we're going to talk about the don't fight less, fight better. We'll be back. And welcome back to Let's Talk About Sex here on XFM 100.2 with me, Mel and I, and today in the studio I have Emma Hogg. Hi, Emma.
Hola.
Hola, hola. So today we're talking about couples and fighting in relationships, and what we are trying to say is that, hey, don't feel that you're not in the right relationship because you fight a lot. We are saying don't fight less, fight better. So we're talking about the blame game. What is this blame game, Emma?
So the blame game is when we get we get stuck on the content of the argument. So you did this or you didn't do that.
I think that's more like it.
Yeah. And we start arguing with each other. So we go in with an accusation, right? Or some people withdraw. It just kind of depends on your tendencies.
On what the person does.
Yeah, some people are more likely to accuse and sort of get upset and go in with a demand, and some others are more likely to withdraw or shut out, right? You get hurt and you shut out. And we do this like it's sort of an inborn, sort of not inborn, sort of ingrained response.
It's innate
response.
Yes.
Exactly. So we tend to get stuck on the content, and we sort of go with, who has enough evidence to prove that the other one is wrong. And we we fight to be correct, right? But not to connect.
Għandi raġuni.
Exactly. But the thing is that in any argument, if one person wins and the other person loses, ultimately you've both lost.
Yes, agreed.
Because then the resentment
builds. There's resentment, and then I'm like, Tara kelli raġuni, and the other one is like, and there's resentment.
And the other person just taps out. They're like, there's no point in arguing with you because I can never win, you never choose to understand me, so screw it.
Yes.
So basically what I really want to drive home today is that, like, arguments are a protest for connection. We all have this deep need for love and belonging because biologically it's ingrained in us. It's a survival instinct. And when we don't have it, we go into fight or flight. Now, this fight or flight makes us behave in funny ways.
Yes.
So we go into accusation or we withdraw. We usually choose something that doesn't help us, right? So we have this request for love and connection, right? So we're like, you see your partner at a party speaking to someone really beautiful, and it triggers your fear. Okay, so you experience jealousy, which stems from a feeling of inadequacy, and you fear that you could lose your partner to another, which, fear of loss of love and loss of belonging. So what happens is, typically we respond from that space of fear. So we try to control, we accuse them, or we start wondering, has he slept with her? Is he going to? Have they been messaging? Now I'll check his phone, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? There's this whole kind of fight or flight space. And it sort of triggers this funny dynamic in the couple, because if I go to my partner in this space, right? Let's say I go to my partner and I'm like, because I saw you, you were talking to her and you completely left me alone, you right? My partner, who
is going to go on
he withdraws,
goes
right?
on the defensive.
He'll go on the
Completely.
defensive, right? So he puts on his armor and he's like, no, you got it wrong, you're crazy, blah, 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 which then makes you even more crazy.
I know what I saw.
Okay, exactly. So what's happening is we get locked in this dynamic. And when partners get sort of, when you go through a period where you find you're fighting all the time, it's because this dynamic is getting more and more strengthened.
And don't you think that then what happens in the next argument, we immediately go from 1 to 10? So the minute somebody opens their mouth, they become the ones who's accusing, and the other one is already with the armor before having heard what they are being accused for.
Bingo, exactly. Exactly. So the pattern gets more and more ingrained.
And it gets and this is something that has been I've heard it's like you co-create the dynamics
Exactly.
of your relationship.
Exactly.
And then your relationship becomes that. Because the minute you arrive home, if it's a male or female, I don't know, but the minute one of you pipes up with the same maybe tone of voice that he or she uses when they're about to say something about the other person, the other person puts on their armor so bad that
like
most probably, boom, shuts them up and doesn't even know what the other person is saying.
Exactly.
And it keeps...
blocks them out.
And it keeps going in circles and circles
and then,
circles.
if this goes on long enough, right, that kind of, we remain in this accusation, withdrawal, there's no meeting in the middle. There's no... By meeting in the middle, I'm not speaking about compromising.
No,
I'm speaking about exactly understand
what's really going on.
Exactly.
And then you get told, we're not compatible.
Exactly. Then the story of incompatibility comes, right? Where we start thinking, maybe I chose wrong. Maybe I married the wrong person. Yeah?
Yeah.
So...
And in reality, it's not an incompatibility, because once upon a time, when this hadn't hardened and become the way you act with one another, you were very compatible.
Yeah. I mean, you were attracted to each other for a reason. Incompatibility is based more on values and goals than on arguments.
You want to live in the countryside, I want to live by the sea. You want to travel the world, I want to settle down.
Even that stuff is okay. It's sort of manageable and negotiable.
If you can.
It's values. that make compatibility, right? So kind of, if I value honesty and connection, and you value success and which is not bad, but success and dishonesty. But I'm not saying the right thing, but I think you get my point, kind of.
Yes.
If our values are completely off, then it's very difficult to make a relationship work.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah. So look, at the beginning of the show, we were speaking about tuning in and how a mother tunes in with the baby, right? And the mother doesn't always get this right. There's no such thing as a perfect mother. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship. We don't always tune into each other correctly. We don't always tune into ourselves correctly. So it's not about doing this perfectly. But if we don't do it at all, or if we don't do it at least 5-1, a ratio of 5-1, then this destroys trust. And we did a show, I think it was our last show, and we were speaking about, if there's no trust,
the polarity of the feminine
exactly,
and the masculine
there's
energy
no
correlation.
Playfulness, and if there's no playfulness, then there's no sex, right?
And I was going to say, this affects sex big time.
This is why sex is the first thing to die when you're in this state, because there's no trust. There's this feeling of, we're on the edge. I'm on the edge. I could lose
And then
everything.
Don't you think, I don't know, maybe this is my opinion, that a lot of people revert to sex to try and fix the relationship, in the sense that, but we still have sex, but sometimes also the sex that you're having, you have to see
it's the quality
of the sex that you're having, because I think I see a lot of older couples, especially, that the minute one of them opens their mouth, the other one just snaps at them. And I see it so much. I mean, not only all the time, but especially, and I think, but why? Sometimes I feel couples get to a point where they dislike one another.
Oh. And how?
Okay,
And
so,
how?
hey.
Yeah, no. And
I can actually see dislike for one another. And I'm thinking,
but
how?
it happens. Like, I mean, if you're not tuning in to your partner, if you're not prioritizing them, then like your partner can't trust you and rely on you. Because ultimately when we're arguing, we're saying, hey, do I matter to you? Like, do you care about me? Like, are you going to be there for me? What's the point in committing your life to someone who is not going to love you courageously? What is the point? Right? So this is what we're asking every time we argue. And if your partner is not responding, and okay, sometimes I, or whoever, we ask in a way that the partner cannot understand. So we also need to look at that.
How we are asking, how we are putting it across.
Exactly. But like, kind of, if we never tune into each other, then we have nothing, because we don't have trust, we don't have safety. And then no, sexuality cannot exist. Not, I mean, maybe a quick boinking here and there, but not like not
the connection, the intimacy.
Exactly, the playfulness, the joy, the spiritual connection, the growth.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you there for a couple of minutes, okay? We're going to go for a couple of songs, and then we're going to come back, and you're going to teach us how we can fight better.
Okay.
Then rather fight less, okay? So we're
Okay,
going to
cool.
be back very, very shortly. And welcome back to Let's Talk About Sex here on XFM 100.2 with me, Mel and I, and Emma Hogg is with me in the studio. Hi, Emma.
Hola.
You didn't go anywhere, did you?
Nope, didn't go anywhere.
No. We have to finish this. And today we're talking about fighting. People who fight in relationships. And if you do fight in your relationship, you're normal.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're talking about is, rather than fighting less, is fighting better.
Yes.
And in this last session, you're actually going to talk about how we can fight better.
Absolutely.
And if you've missed the first two parts of the show, then go on the Facebook page, which has the same name as the show, Let's Talk About Sex on XFM 100.2 with Mel and I, and there we upload the clips, which you can maybe then show to your partner and tell him, see, or her, see, we're normal. We fight a lot, but we're normal. It doesn't mean we're incompatible.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's going to end.
Yeah.
You know, so
Totally.
give us some hope here.
Okay. So
So,
basically,
let's go.
So basically, this is stuff that I learned and continue to learn, right? Because the first 2 years of my relationship with my who's now my husband, we argued like crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, we had this magnetic attraction towards each other, but we used to like just get stuck in this argument cycle, you know, which still crops up from time to time. It's not like now we're pros, you know, and like we never of, if there's something that sort of triggers our fight or flight, you know, because we're human at the end of the day, we go back into the cycle. But what's different now, because we have worked so much on this, and we've like I have read so much about this and then taught my husband, and then my husband has gone and done his own work and understood himself better, and I've understood myself better, that now we can step out of the cycle quicker. So we still fall into the cycle. So don't be surprised if you see us walking down the street and we're like, you know.
So when you talk about falling into the cycle, it is what we said in the second part.
Yeah.
That one of you becomes the one who accuses, the other one puts the armor, and you stop seeing each other.
The armor comes from, the armor comes from both, right? So one of them puts on the armor and attacks. And the other one puts on the armor and protects.
Defends.
And if this dynamic goes on long enough, then the one who puts on the armor and attacks, because the attack is really a request saying, hello, pay attention to me, do you see me?
Yes.
That person eventually will just withdraw. And when both of you have withdrawn,
boom,
the relationship collapses.
Because in effect, when you're accusing someone, when you're out there, when you say, because you didn't do that, you are asking to be heard.
Yes. Now, the way that we
not
ask,
the right way.
we need to think about it, right? Don't expect yourself to do this perfectly, okay? But the more you practice it, the more that you choose to do this. So don't like use not doing it perfectly as an excuse to do it imperfectly, because you're not going to help yourself. But the more that you choose to communicate in a way that your partner can understand you, one, the easier it will become for you to do it because you're practicing it. And two, the more your partner can actually listen to you. So, one, when you're triggered, make the choice to calm down. So something that I've learned to do is put the fight on hold. So something that like kind of very often the sort of the fear is we have to fix this now. The fear makes us feel like we have to fix this now. Yes. Don't you dare leave until we fix this, right? Yes. But if you keep coming at each other from this fight or flight space, you are just talking at each other. No one is hearing anything. Even if you put the fight to rest, it's not done. No. So if you calm down, right, so that you can step out of the fight or flight on a brain level, and then you can go into your prefrontal cortex. You can send more oxygen there. Your prefrontal cortex is what allows you to have compassion. Yes. Not just for the other, but for yourself first. And this is where compassion starts. You have to have compassion with yourself. So the first place you start in communicating to your partner is calm down and ask yourself, what are you fearing, right? What did your partner do? What did it make you feel? And what is your fear? So when I saw him speak to that woman, I felt jealous. I felt inadequate. I felt
not
so
enough,
freaking angry.
Why?
All right. Why? Because I fear that he could leave me. Right? For her. He might choose her. So the request for love is, do you love me? Will you stay no matter what? Right? So if you get in touch with that, you can communicate that much more clearly to your partner.
And you become softer.
And exactly, right? You soften.
You become softer.
That's the feminine energy.
Yes, and instead of coming from this,
which is masculine.
Masculine and fighting.
Exactly.
You become softer.
And then the masculine in your partner can listen to you, can engage with you, right? Yeah. So that's number one. Mm-hmm. Two is to have heartfelt communication. And so when I say heartfelt, I mean that you communicate in a way that you allow yourself, you choose to feel your partner.
Okay.
So you're not just hearing the content that they're saying, and then you're thinking of ways to prove them wrong. Right? That's such a fun game, and I love this game. It's like playing chess, right? And I'm so good at it.
I'd be dying to take notes so that I can say, oh, by the way, point number 4.
BS. I'm freaking good at this game, and I like it.
Me too.
But it's not constructive.
No.
At all. So instead of listening to what your partner is saying and thinking about how you can blah, 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 I want you
tear it to pieces.
Exactly, tune in, right? Because your partner's also been triggered. So what are they communicating to you, right? What's the fear? What do they need? Because your partner also has needs. So tuning into each other. The third step is be courageous enough to be vulnerable. And that means to say what you really feel. Even if you're scared, it's going to hurt them.
Hurt them.
Yeah. Obviously, think about how you're saying it, right? So if, for example, you are at a point with your partner where you're wondering if you can stay, if you're wondering whether you're going to be able to stay in a relationship with them, you need to communicate this to them, right? So you can say, listen, when this happens, I feel completely left alone and it hurts me. And the fact that you haven't been listening to me for a while makes me feel even more alone. So I wonder, is this ever going to change? And it hurts. It's become painful to stay. So I really need for you to see this, because if it doesn't change, I'm going to find it very, very difficult, to be able to stay, because my trust is broken, right?
Wow, I saw that. So it goes all the way from attacking your partner for flirting with another woman, which will which will definitely put him in the withdrawal of no, I wasn't, and it becomes simply a game of yes, you were, no, I wasn't, to a much deeper level of why I felt like that. And you can, as you're saying, you can appeal to your partner in a way of, let's forget that you were talking about ex-woman, because then most probably the argument becomes about name, surname of woman, you know?
Yeah.
You're actually going to the real core.
Yes. Although at the same time, and you're actually absolutely bingo here, I just want to add on to what you're saying, that obviously if the partner was flirting, there needs to be ownership.
Ownership from the other side of Mushovia.
This is not about flirting, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to kill your sexuality with the world. Because if you kill your sexuality with the world, you kill your sexuality for your partner. But what is important is ownership, right? So if you did take your love away, if you did keep your options open, if you were seeking external validation by being someone else and you made your partner feel completely insignificant, own it, right?
Yes.
This is a part of building trust.
Yes.
The thing about fighting is it's not arguments that kill a relationship. It's lack of emotional responsiveness. It's lack of compassion. It's lack of ownership. You can argue loads. You can, I mean, obviously, the more there's compassion, the less you will argue. But arguments will still happen because you're two growing individuals negotiating life together. But when you own responsibility and you tune into each other's needs and you're honest about your own needs, the relationship can grow. The tuning in is vital. The building trust is vital.
And I think what you're saying today, because I think the word communication has been overused to such an extent that I think it's being used, and nobody is really listening to it anymore. You know, this idea, in a relationship, communication is key. How many times have we heard it?
Yeah.
How many? But sometimes, and what we're saying today is not even communication is key. What we're saying is actually to have heartfelt communication, to have
feel
compassion.
your partner. Yeah, exactly. Compassion is passion with. I feel with you. We can't leave our partners alone, otherwise we're not in relationship.
Oh, Emma, thank you so much for that. I saw the tears in your eyes.
I'm so passionate about relationships. I love it. I just love it. And I wish that, I share this because it's helped me a lot. I don't have a perfect relationship by any means, but this has helped us to grow together,
And sex can only get better.
Yeah.
Depending on how great your relationship is.
The trust.
And
trust is everything.
Because when you trust, you allow a person to feel safe. And when a person feels safe, they can be whatever they want to be.
They can be playful.
Free.
And sex comes from playfulness.
Yes. So, Emma, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you.
I will see you very, very soon.
I'll see you soon.
And thank you for teaching us how to fight better rather than how to fight less. And you can find all these clips on my Facebook page, just in case you just tuned in and you're saying, oh no, damn it, I missed it again. So, anyway, good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
And I'll see you next week.
Thank you.